Okay, hey everybody, my name is Rydo and I'm doing an experiment today in live streaming on YouTube. I have over 600 videos of Hearthstone on my channel that I usually pre-record and use as my blog channel, and I ran into this quest where I have to win 5 tavern brawls, and so that's one of the things I need to finish. I kind of need to do everything here and finish all of that. Uh, so I'm doing an extra Hearthstone game than I usually do. Usually I just play Hearthstone one day every 3 days, which is the appropriate way to get as much gold as possible. And I should trade this out, actually, even though it's the highest gold, since I have one more trade. So I'm going to do that. And that's going to leave us with playing 20 minions that cost 5 or more, win 2 games with Mage or Shaman, and play 10 cards that cost 8 or more? Wow. Ooh, I'm not sure I have 10 cards that cost 8 or more in any of my decks. But we're ready to go here. I'm looking at chat, which is a new thing for me because, like I said, I pre-record everything. And so everybody is free to do all of that. Uh, I guess I'm not expecting too much here. I'm just trying to see if anybody at all uh, will just randomly come on to my channel and see this. So let me know down in the chat. I'd love it if you liked. I'd love it if you subscribed. I'd love all of that. Uh, but really, I'm just trying to see if this video might get slightly more than on average the 2 views that my videos get in the first couple of weeks. My channel's very, very small. I only have 131 subscribers. I've gotten over 180,000 views, which is a big number, but not a big number compared to other YouTube channels. We're going to talk about a few things news-wise. That's usually what I do in my channels is I'll talk about old news because I'll talk about what news is happening to me, but I record everything 3 months in advance, so by the time I'm talking about something, it's already happened 3 months ago. Let's go ahead and just start with, I guess, Shaman games. It is worth throwing out there that I am not the best of players of Hearthstone. I think I'm probably just an average player of Hearthstone, and I have a lot of issues with Hearthstone, but I'm not gonna hopefully get too salty, or that term is so new to me, frustrated with it, but that is something we're doing. Let me know down in the comments too if you how the speed, the streaming, and everything. My internet's not the fastest. That's another experiment here, is to see if the a video even works or looks good. And I'm also recording this internally into my software on my hard drive, so my usual high quality videos, which I kind of pride myself on spending a lot of effort to record at a high bit rate and make things look good
Job's done.
on my videos. So I'll see if I can replace the live stream version with the file version. I don't know any of the YouTube software.
I'll never tell.
I could, of course, be doing this on Twitch also, but I am not ready to take that next step of experimentation and totally leave YouTube. Despite all the things YouTube does to everybody to irritate them. That is certainly an issue. So, yeah. Speaking of which, the YouTube restricted mode, there's a lot of hysteria going on about that right now, and I've done my own little research, and it seems like the problem in general is that anytime YouTube is found to have done or at some point how could you even say this? anytime YouTube has found out that it does something or was doing something, everybody gets on a big bandwagon to get more views by complaining about it. So restricted mode, if YouTube's to be believed, is only used by 1.5% of the people. It's for people that are in schools. It's for schools to say, look, you're going to be in restricted mode. We're going to be very conservative. We're going to make sure you can't see anything while we'll still let you on YouTube, which most schools aren't even that lenient. I bet most schools, when you're talking even high school, probably just block YouTube directly or whitelist only a few YouTube videos. So you have to take it from that perspective too, I would recommend. But all that being said, people are upset with their videos getting restricted. And yes, I know some channels, seems like everything they talked about on channels was blocked by YouTube's restricted mode filter. So their entire channel is gone. I just looked at the YouTube Kids app. That filter is probably the same restricted filter. And when it originally came out, some of the videos that I had made that I was trying to focus towards little kids were findable. In fact, my entire channel and practically everything was still searchable throughout the YouTube Kids app. And now that's not really the case. It's still very well maybe an issue of my channel's just so low as far as popularity that's the reason for that, but it's kind of hard to tell. So like I did Wheels on the Bus Minecraft style as an experiment. I think that probably should show up on the YouTube Kids app. It doesn't when I specifically search it. When I type in my name, Rydo, R-Y-D-O, that doesn't show up in the search. Nothing shows up, which is odd. But am I really concerned? Do I really care the videos aren't showing up in the YouTube Kids app? No, because I think that app is probably for 4-year-olds. And there definitely are things on my channel that 4-year-olds shouldn't be watching. Mostly because it's just mentally over challenging. It's too intelligent for them. But I've also covered a lot of the Lego games, and because I've covered the Lego games, I would have hoped that some of those would have come up in the YouTube Kids app, but no. When I went just to YouTube itself, though, and turned on restricted mode and looked at my channel, it's right now not great, because of all the things that were filtered out, I think all of them were right, but it does also kind of show that my channel doesn't have that many kids things. And since I'm a video game critic, this is a consistent issue that I've known about, though, is that there aren't a lot of video games that are focused towards that are really heavily focused towards kids. And that's in particular why I was doing the Lego games, until finally the Lego games started having a lagging issue that was happening on my computer that was driving me insane. Let's go ahead and kill this guy.
Job's done.
Get down!
So one of the things here about these Jade Golems is confusing, that they get 1 more health and 1 more attack every time you summon the Jade Golem. Also, I should point out the Hearthstone deck tracker is over here on the right. If you can see that, hopefully you can. Yes, you can. This is a overlay app that I have. I have a video on how to set it up and install it, but it's for a very old version. And frankly, I would just recommend just trying to install it and use it as you want to use it, whether you're streaming or not, before you watch that old video, because a lot of things have changed. Both the Hearthstone deck tracker and the open broadcast software used to stream and record that I'm still using right now have updated. OBS has gone to OBS Studio, but I haven't ever upgraded because I use a plugin called OBS Remote to tell my phone when I'm streaming. Now, if I was live streaming all the time, I wouldn't really need that app because I could watch myself and watch the chat like I'm doing right now, which is wasting my bandwidth. But I suppose I could pause the video maybe and then just watch the chat and send some of my bandwidth back up. What would this have to reach as this experiment to be considered a success? That is an interesting question. I think I would. There's the insane, highly unlikely success scenarios, and then there are the realistic success scenarios, I suppose. I'm about to lose. Hopefully, something I've done here actually moved some of the quest forward. Like the insane success scenarios is somehow I did turn on super chat, which I don't even know if my channel's big enough to allow that, and somebody actually donated something. On average on my channel I get about 70 cents a week. It's, like I said, very small YouTube channel, so if I could get even like a dollar donut, that's a Freudian slip. That wasn't. Let's try mage this time and see if we can get some victories there. I have a card pack, but I can't open it. In fact, we need to play on casual, don't we? Like, if somebody donated $1 on one stream, then arguably I would consider doing a stream every 3 days on Hearthstone. I don't particularly want to record like Hearthstone every single day. I don't want my channel to just be about Hearthstone. I'm not even certain that a year from now I'll even be playing Hearthstone. A lot of even the professional Hearthstone people are saying that they want to, they're quitting and they're moving to Gwent. There's a big issue between Blizzard is not really satisfying the casual players because they give at best 50% win ratio. Here you can see my deck I'm playing right now has a 40% win ratio. But at best, Blizzard only wants you to have a 50% win ratio, which means you're going to lose half the time. And that's very, very different from playing a single-player game, which most video game players are used to doing. And it's not much better than 50% for even the professionals out there. The Trumps, the Crippins, Trump being a YouTuber or Twitch streamer, that's his name. Day 9. None of them are going to end up doing much better than 50%. It's not like they get 90% or 80% or 60% even win ratios. And because of that, they're not very happy with that win ratio either. They don't like the randomness in cards. So when, for instance, Battlecry summon a random 3 minion, they won't play a card like this because they would rather play cards that guarantee outcomes usually. Next secret we play. Let's see. Well, I guess we'll do this.
Many secrets.
So yeah, for a successful stream, the overly successful would be if anybody could super chat. If super chat's not working, if anybody goes to my main YouTube channel and donates, like when you go to my main YouTube channel by clicking on my name, on the right there's a support this channel button that's supposed to be going away because of super chat, but it's still there right now.
Dead or alive.
And if somebody donated there, and if they particularly commented, that would also monetize me and motivate me to continue doing this. So I mean, the greed is right there in front of it. It's like, if this pays off, then I would do more of it. The other thought, though, the less successful but still helpful way to evaluate this is if anybody in the entire duration of this video or later gets on and decides to actually start streaming, or not start streaming, but they get on and watch the stream, or they comment. Comments and views are the secondary money to a YouTuber. So if people give a thumbs up, that's like a comment. I like a thumbs up and a comment. If people do a thumbs down, fine. It's the same thing according to YouTube, although I don't fully believe that that actually is the case. I think there's a decent chance that if you get more than half of your videos are thumbs down, they stop recommending your videos. But YouTube's weird about who they recommend videos to anyways, and the big channels in particular are feeling that a lot more because YouTube has stopped heavily focusing on the big channels and promoting it. And you can start seeing that, you know, it's actually, they've come out and said it because they've got the Artist on the Rise program, where now in the trending tab or trending feed of videos, there's an artist on the rise twice a week, and then there's a musician on the rise twice a week. And I think the musician on the rise thing's kind of unfair because then you're singling out musicians, and then what ends up happening is you're singling out Vimeo people, so people who have record contracts with Sony Music or Viacom, or I don't know if Viacom has a music thing, or WB Music. So anything Vimeo, you try to search anything music on YouTube, and it's usually Vimeo, and you'd be like, well, fine, whatever. But the problem there is the people that own Vimeo are also the people that are constantly making content ID and copyright claims and downright suing YouTube directly for copyright infringement of their music. So they're both profiting off of it and also manipulating it to make it painful and irritating for everybody else. That being said, if you are going to
you want it? I got it.
If you are going to do music, you pretty much have to do original music that you created on YouTube. You can't do covers. You can't do anything that sounds anything like it, and you're still going to end up with a ton of content ID and copyright claims. I run into a ton of content ID and copyright claims. In fact, particularly I've run into a lot of copyright claims that have already been made by LucasArts are now being remade by Walt Disney. And so something that was already settled and I already wasted my time on is once again going through it. And the way content ID works is somebody claims all the money and advertisement from your video. They could do it on this live stream right now, and then they can mess with your video in multitudes of ways for 30 days to maybe 60 days if you appeal a rejected dispute. to maybe even longer, and there's a victory. Uh, and one of the ways they can mess with your videos is they claim the music, and then YouTube has tried to make it nicer on us and allowed us just to remove the music that they're claiming. Well, that's great, but now it turns out they can come back and make the claim again. And so there's this concept that I've kind of created in my own head called content ID decay, where videos that come out live like this are probably the best version of the video you're going to see, ignoring the streaming poor quality on bad bandwidth and streaming, because immediately after a live stream goes up, there might be a content ID that requires you to remove an audio. And then maybe a month later, you get another content ID that requires you to remove the audio. And this isn't really fair, but the problem is, for a lot of us small YouTubers, I will say this is fair use, and I know it's fair use, but fair use doesn't mean anything in the content ID system because it's not based on any real legal laws or rights. It's just something YouTube made up that's similar to the DMCA, but not in any way actually beholden to the rights of the DMCA. So you claim it's fair use. Half the time, some, I assume, random person, I assume, is getting paid like 50 cents an hour in some third world country to just say, no, we reject your dispute. And you'll get those rejections just immediately. And you'll know they didn't look at it. And you know they didn't consider fair use. And they don't care. They're not even in the United States where the DMCA laws apply. That's another weird thing, is that you'll get a lot of, if you try to do Nintendo, you'll get Nintendo of Japan sometimes claiming your
excuse me,
your stuff, and you're like, well, I'm in the United States, so and you're in Japan, so these are different laws. It shouldn't really apply at all. Do I, as a United States citizen, have to follow every single copyright law in every single other country? I guarantee you there are third world countries out there that don't follow the United States copyright laws. There's cheap knockoffs going on all over the place for those things. And so the content ID system is just this constant harassment, constant bother, and it pushed a lot of people to go to Twitch. Maybe at some point I would go to Twitch. It'd be very hard for my channel to go to Twitch though, because I do long plays on games. I start at the beginning and I go to the end, criticizing it all throughout. And because of that, the way that thing that happens, usually I'll release a video every Monday through Friday for an entire month.
You want it?
Do I actually have time where I could schedule and even be awake? I suffer from insomnia. I wake up at all the wrong hours. So trying to stream for me would not work out terribly well. There are some days I don't do anything, but I can, on the other days, make up for that. And I like the fact that my channel has a very consistent release schedule. We don't miss videos. If you want, I model my channel like a TV channel, where there's a 5 o'clock show, and there's a 6 o'clock show, and there's a 7 o'clock show, and right now there's even an 8 o'clock show, although that may not go on forever. And what's at the earliest time slot is kid friendly, and what's at the latest time slot is not. And at the 3 o'clock time slot Central Time in the United States, I always do point-and-click adventure games, or I mostly do point-and-click adventure games. And so, even though after a month I may be done with one game, the next game will be very similar. And then at my 7 o'clock time slot, I do AAA games, but usually retrospective AAA games. I try to find a reason. So, like, May the 4th, Be With You is about to happen, which is the Star Wars fake holiday. And for that month of May, I'm going to cover 2 Star Wars games, which is cool. Cool enough to keep doing that. Wow, I'm winning pretty well today. Let's see. I'm gonna hit play on my thing. No, still nobody on chat. So at least I'm not seeing anybody on chat. If there were people that actually are chatting, sorry about that. There's a lot of work that would have to be done to get this to work perfectly. I would need to get some kind of overlay thing to put in the chat, or a second monitor to look at the chat, because what I'm doing right now is not working the greatest, but it's doing pretty well. So now I need to play 20 minions that cost 5 or more, and play 10 cards that cost 8 or more. And see, I'm gonna have to just go into my collections and see if I have any cards like this that have 8 or more. Like, because I don't think any of my decks are so late game that they have this. Deathwing, Ursa, Nefarian. Okay, so we'll do Battlecry for these 3 cards. So, with the way things are happening, and see, Tavern Brawl's still not even here. Good thing I traded out that one. With the new quests, I decided to... Why do I have 2 Battlecry decks? That is a good question. I bet that was the only thing I could even think of making. I changed how I was building decks. And I'm not sure I'm going to stay that way. But right now all my decks are designed around, you get a quest that says play 10 cards that have Battlecry. I have apparently 2 decks that I can play that have a lot of Battlecry characters. You get a quest that says use Overload. I have an Overload deck. You have a quest that says use Taunt things. The problem is none of those are particularly fun decks to play, nor do they even succeed in getting me up in the ranks. Not that I'm very good and can get up in the ranks when playing ranked play anyways. Right now I'm just playing on casual in the hopes of getting something that costs 8 or more first. So here's 2 9 ones, so if I can... Here's 3 cards.
Job's done.
Well, no, 2 cards. So if I can hopefully stall here, and that would be nice, and play these 2 before he kills me or I kill him. That would be nice. So
I can ease your pain.
There's a lot of issues with YouTube, certainly, and I've been ranting about it, and people are ranting about the restricted mode. I think they're being hysterical about it. Like, I saw one article that said that the focus that it's filtering out entire channels of one group of people, and then the next day I see a video game article that says it's filtering out video game channels, and I'm like, okay, so people have figured out what restricted mode is. Restricted mode's been there for a while. I know it's been there. I used it. So unless YouTube put me on some beta channel and had me testing out their software, I knew it was there. It didn't matter to me. because it's not used by anybody. It's not going to be used by anybody. And when it in restricted mode in the regular app, I think it did the right job filtering out my videos. Like right now, I have a series called Sometimes Always Monsters, which is this RPG Maker game that was kickstarted, and I imagine it gets filtered out, and I imagine it gets filtered out just because it has the word monsters in the name. One of my series is Honey Pop, and Honey Pop is a romance sex game, and yeah, that totally should be filtered out, and it is. So, am I upset that it's filtered out? No. I'm saying it's doing exactly its job. There is, something has changed in their algorithm because it filtered out about 4 days ago. It started filtering out one game, but it let the first 4 episodes of that game go through. And it does take my 5 or 6 videos that I'm airing down to 2 because it only leaves Hearthstone and the Lego series that's airing right now. And frankly, in restricted mode, that's right. Like, if you're going to be incredibly conservative, when you look at it from the perspective of every single very anxious parent who doesn't want their kids to see anything or have anything affect them, for like a parent that would homeschool their kids and never let them out of the house, just super conservative, super controlling. That seems like who restricted mode is, and probably it still wouldn't satisfy most of those parents. So I'm not upset with it. Unfortunately, that's kind of since I talked about all the news yesterday recording Hearthstone, that's kind of one of 3 things that I have to talk about. Let's see. You're holding a dragon, destroy an enemy with 3 or less attack. Let's go ahead and draw a card. Barbaric. The other things I have to talk about are, let's see, I have this whiteboard. I need to get a teleprompter device of some sort, something cheap that I could put either a like tablet on and it would just reflect in the mirror, but I'm looking for something really cheap, and everything I've seen is moderately expensive. So right now I'm just using a dry erase whiteboard, which comes with its own issues. Definitely. Let's see. Discover a dragon. This is exactly what I want.
Barbaric.
Of course I want to heal myself too. Although if I play this next turn, I will heal myself to 15. So he's out of cards. It just puts me in a good position. I can just continuously...
I bring life.
Continuously get rid of this. So I want to play this 9 and this 9. Microsoft has announced a new Xbox One Tech Series control, laser edge textures and rubber backing, and better Bluetooth on the controller. But it's still not the Xbox One Pro controller, so it doesn't have the kind of customizations. So it's arguably it's going to turn out to be
beyond your understanding.
See, choose an enemy minion at the start of your turn, destroy it.
I will mourn your death.
And let's see. Hopefully this guy doesn't give up. I'm looking, I'd like to get the Xbox Pro controller in my hands and actually try it. But I don't know really where you'd get one and try it. That's several of my controller issues. I need a quieter mouse and keyboard. They're something super quiet that you wouldn't.
Let the games begin.
That you wouldn't mess with. I'm gonna try and wait for Deathwing here. Deal 5 damage to all characters except for Yorsa. Let's see, after I get Deathwing, there's really nothing else to do. If you're holding a dragon, gain +1 attack and taunt. Let's see.
Let the games begin.
If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage. If you have 15 or less health, deal 3 damage.
Let the games
Discover a card. That'll be nice. And end the turn. I've already won here, but that's not what we're trying to do. I think there might be some other things I need to do. The other thing about the Microsoft Pro controller, though, is I also am not 100% certain you can just plug a USB controller into it and use it wired. And I really feel like for recording scenarios, doing it wired is the right way. There we go. So now we only need to do 7 more cards that cost 10 or more. And I can't imagine that I have any other decks that have cards that are more expensive. I could destroy one of my decks and try to play a bunch more, but it's not going to really help much, and I don't want to mess up my decks quite yet because the Journey to Unguru expansion is about to come out, and when that happens I'm going to open 50 packs and I'll be rebuilding all my decks then, so it's not the right time for that. So yeah, I'd like to get the Xbox Pro controller. Right now I'm using the Xbox 360 wired controller. Those are so much cheaper though that it's a hard argument to go from something that's decreasing in value over and over again, and I could just buy a bunch of those and live with them forever, or almost forever until something else comes around, versus getting the Pro one. And then I need to find a keyboard and mouse setup that's really, really quiet, and I think I want a keyboard that is kind of one of like those spill-proof rubberized ones that won't make any sound at all, because my microphone is right where the mouse and keyboard would be, and it is a Blue Yeti microphone, and it's pretty good about picking up things that are slightly to the side. It's too good of a microphone is the problem. It picks up noises. The other things to talk about as far as news is Bloodstained for Wii U has been canceled in favor of Bloodstained for Switch. Okay, we were going to see a lot of that. Not really surprising news. Actual news, I have started doing this thing on my series that I don't have any today, where I'll see news articles written by other people, and then I'll just say, you know what, this is part of the not news segment, because the most recent one was, what was it? It was The Witcher 3 developers knew nothing about developing video games when they started. No duh. It's like, that's not news. Every developer knew nothing about developing when they started. That's what starting means. Is you don't know anything. we don't learn through osmosis. We can't genetically program people to know things. It's a silly thing to even say.
I wield the power.
So yeah, I've been doing that not new segment, and the only other thing is apparently in Mass Effect Andromeda, if you play as a male character and you want to have male and male homosexual relationships, there's really only 2 options. Whereas the female to character has many more lesbian, female and female homosexual relationship options. So it really was just, seems like it was thrown in as an afterthought, as a pittance to say we did it, just so they don't get in trouble for having a double standard. And in a lot of ways, I think you could argue that that's Mass Effect Andromeda in a nutshell. It was just done to do it, to just, let's see. It was just made to keep the series going and to make more money. Jeff Grossman on Giant Bomb, which I could be listening to that right now if I wasn't doing this, the Bombcast. It put it as, it feels like the made for TV movie version of Mass Effect. And yeah, it seems like there's a very consistent issue that the animations and the quality of animations, the style of animations in Mass Effect Andromeda are not good. The game is sort of good, it seems like, but not great, from what I hear.
Are you mocking me?
And so there's a lot to consider there when trying to decide to play that game, and people are frustrated with it a lot, and I don't think at this point anybody probably should play Mass Effect Andromeda. I think you could probably get a better game. In a weird way, BioWare games sell themselves as this thing that I'm not sure they really are. They make out like they have these great story-based RPGs that are really fun games, and I kind of don't think they are really fun games. Like, between the Mass Effect series and the Dragon Age series, I think they just are. It would be better defined as a video game company that is working to become a good video game company, but is not there yet. Well, I guess I should go ahead and take the victory now, if I can, because the only other card I have to play is Nefarian. And if this is Vaporize or something... Yep. Saw that coming. Let me go ahead and stream again and just live chat. Let's see how many people are watching. 1 right now. And that's nuts, and it's probably me, so like, surprise. So yeah, inherently all YouTubers, new YouTubers and old YouTubers, have this issue of we just don't know how to get more views, and YouTube changes its algorithm and makes it even more difficult to figure it out. It's it's a consistent issue of just like, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what to do to improve, and we don't know what the right move is to fix things. And so here I am live streaming at a decent time, I think. I don't know about the time slots either. I put everything in prime time. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I see people that sometimes put out videos on things that I'm subscribed at. They put out videos at like 6 or 7 in the morning. Okay, if that could be people going to work. That could be that could be kids going to work. So I get the 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock type thing, the wake up time. But then if you put out anything in between, say 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning and 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then I kind of feel like you're either targeting people that either don't go to school or don't go to work, or are allowed to watch YouTube on a regular basis at school or at work. And while sadly there probably is a higher number than you might think of people who spend all day at their job watching YouTube, I think the number of kids, or even college kids, that would have the time for that is not high. So I don't see a real reason for that. And of course he burned 3 cards because of Fell Weaver here. The idea of having a consistent audience is much more appealing than just getting random views. Although for this live stream I am mostly just getting random views if I get any, and my hope is to turn any random views into subscribers, and that they can find something on my channel that will interest them at least a little bit to make them watch all of it. To stay for a month at least and stay subscribed for longer. Ideally, I wouldn't want to go any month where a subscriber couldn't find at least something interesting to them, but I honestly haven't been doing the greatest of releases either. Always Sometimes Monsters I thought was going to be a very different game, and it was very long and had to do that. I've just recorded another series that's going to be weird too, because it's a racing game. Why am I hiding? It's Dirt 3, the cover of the releasing, and look at a retrospective of Dirt 3, a game that you can't even purchase on Steam, as Dirt 4 is coming out. And like, I know not everybody's going to be into Hearthstone, but Hearthstone is the only series that's consistent. Like, I'm always doing Hearthstone until I can find a different card game to replace my Hearthstone with, because I want to play something that I can consistently play, and I want to have it be mindless enough that I can just talk as we're playing here. I've either lost connection, which I don't know if that's because I'm streaming or if that's just Hearthstone in general giving me trouble. It's gonna time out pretty soon here. So I covered Ferraria as, would this be a game that maybe could beat Hearthstone, and sadly no, it just won't. It's really hard to defeat Hearthstone because you've got the backing of Blizzard, you've got a couple years of expansion that you would have to catch up to, you've got a lot of polish, a lot of audio, a lot of animations, a very good interface, you have the fandom of World of Warcraft, since these are all World of Warcraft characters, which I never played World of Warcraft, so I don't really have an issue there. But let's see, are you gonna just stick here forever? This is another issue of streaming, is that if something wrong happens, you're just kind of stuck here. I would like to go to a different game. Gwent is an interesting option, but it doesn't look like there's enough variety in Gwent quite yet. Wow. Here you... I just heard that I won. So the other person lost connection. But getting 3 victories to get 10 gold is such a dumb, stupidly small and time-consuming way to get gold. It's not helpful at all. Gold is a major issue. I eventually was told by Crippen, and I believe him, that those heroic tavern brawls, which I did the first one, and then the second one I said, no, I'm not going to spend $10 worth of gold on something I'm going to lose at. But they always are timed right before the expansions so that you actually spend all of your gold and have to spend real money for new packs in the next expansion, which is pretty greedy, pretty greedy trick there. Here, we'll go ahead and we'll greet people, and hopefully it doesn't turn into a squelch situation where I have to keep them quiet. By the way, down in the description there should be a link to friend me. There's 2 different links for battle.net. You can either friend me just using the friend code, or you can click the referral friend me here link that's higher up and go through the recruit thing. Apparently in the entire time I've done the recruit a friend thing, only 2 people have actually been recruited through that link, and that's gotten me 2 card packs because of it. But whatever. I need more friends than I need card packs. I have enough gold. I can buy more card packs. But what I don't have is people who are consistently online and playing, and because I don't have people that are consistently online and playing, I get the quest where it says challenge a friend for 80 gold, and you'll give your friend 80 gold. Twice now I've challenged people, and it says when you get the challenge you're gonna get 80 gold if you just accept this challenge, win or lose, and people will reject it. And I'm just left scratching my head as like, do you not want free gold? It costs 100 gold to get a card pack. That's not terrible. All you have to do is play me. And it doesn't say this, but anytime I challenge anybody, I'm probably going to let them win. Because I don't care on the friendly thing. Also, you get a quest that's watch and learn, where you get a card pack for if you watch one of your friends play Hearthstone and win a game. And since so few of the people are online at any time of my friends, I can't get that done. I have to always go to my secondary account. Like right now we've got one that's doing battle and party play mode, one that's doing battle and play mode, one that's playing Heroes of the Storm, one that was away 16 minutes ago, and then the vast majority last online yesterday, last online more than a month ago, last online 3 days ago, last online more than a month ago, last online 1 month ago. So the vast majority of people are always doing that. And see, there's the for battle.net code Rydo, RYDO number 1423, if you want to friend me that way instead of going through the recruit link. I think the link is easier, honestly. If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage.
Reading dragon live.
Let's see. I want to play this, but I'm afraid I'm gonna die before it. He's playing a Murloc deck. And Murloc decks have been pretty successful for me considering that because they do damage fast and they're easy characters to summon. As you may see, he's got a couple of these that summon a Murloc every time they're inspired, or every time your guy uses his hero power. Let's see, destroy a legendary. If you're holding a dragon, destroy a legendary? Well, am I not holding a dragon? This is a legendary, why is that not gonna work? I guess I can't target it. Let's see.
Secret agent coming through.
Let's see. Well, this isn't gonna work. This is a difficult quest, not one I would usually take to play cards that are 8 or more. That's not one you usually get either. And see, when things turn around in the next expansion, I really probably still should keep most of my decks the same just to get quests done, because I'm all about that time management right now. I want to I want to spend the least amount of time playing Hearthstone so I can go and play other things. In fact, right now I am biting into the time that I should be playing a different game. I'm up to, I record everything a few months early, and because of that, that means that I'm trying to play one game for Mother's Day already, and that's kind of a difficult thing. Women's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day. I don't believe there is a Man's Day. The Children's Day, Parents' Day, all these lower tier kind of fake holidays that although I would say Mother's Day and Father's Day are probably a little bit more traditional, where a lot of the other ones are greeting card holidays designed to just get you to spend more money on people and buy gifts for people. They're all very difficult to try to use as an excuse for playing a certain game. And Mother's Day, and for example, how many games do you know have a mother connection? A big issue with a character that's a mother, or
The light shall bring victory.
or some mother themes. There really isn't that many. You start to get into crazy connections. Like, there's Mother Brain in the Metroid series. I can't cover Nintendo games anyways because they copyright everything, so forget that. But yes, there is Mother Brain in the Metroid series. There is an old NES game that its original title in Japanese was called Mother, or Mother 3, I don't remember, that is very popular, but it goes by a different name
For the Life Finder.
In the United States, and that's really just a translation thing. The Last of Us, you had Ellie and the main character, and that was kind of a father-daughter relationship, so maybe if I could play a PlayStation game on PC, since I'm just a PC gamer, and not have to stream it through like PlayStation Now. I'm a PC gamer for now, at least. The problem is why I don't play console games is it's about a $1,500 investment to do it the right way. You need to spend $500 for an Xbox One or PlayStation 4, and right now it probably would be even a little bit more to get an Xbox One Scorpio when that comes out, or the PlayStation 4 Pro, and
Are you mocking me?
then on top of that $500 for the console itself, it's probably going to be another $500 to get a capture box that could accurately and well just captured all the video from a game. Now I know they have their own streaming things where you can stream to your PC, but then that's going to be lower quality, so you could do it that way, but you're just not getting up to a level of quality I'd like to do. Doing that, and on top, if you're going to get a PlayStation 4 Pro, you probably need an Xbox One too, so there you have another $500, and then you're already up to $1,500, excluding the price of the games, which are very more expensive than what I get when I get a Humble Bundle or a Steam sale. And I've been able to be more frugal and get older and often less quality games and cover them, but it also allows my channel to be a lot more varied than the regular things. Sometimes I will try to jump on a bandwagon, certainly, and like I'll try to jump on a bandwagon and play a game when it's relatively new. Hearthstone in particular is one of those games where, since it's free to play, there's no real price financially to play the brand new expansions on it, other than to earn the gold and save up because of that. But even when I have done that, it doesn't play out greatly. It turns into this issue of I still don't get a lot of views because the market's so flooded on Twitch and YouTube. Darn it. I need somebody to give me some time so I can get to the 9th turn. I have 4 more cards that I need to play. And this is usually how it happens, and what I normally would do is I would say, I'll just play this off screen at the end of a recording. I'd go like 30 minutes, whereas we may have been going for about an hour now already. But I try to break up my episodes into 30 minutes of Hearthstone, and then I'll try to do 3 for the 3 quests, just 3 recordings for every 3 days. That keeps me ahead, and I'm way ahead on Hearthstone, which is another issue. If I was going to live stream all the time, there's this issue of I've got so many things that are far ahead. I would have to eventually I'd have to double up on Hearthstone videos just to get rid of my extra footage, which is going to be which would be an issue too.
For Doomhammer.
The light shall bring victory.
But the bigger issue is not having anything to talk about, and that's why I normally just say I'll do it off screen, is because I can multitask when I'm not recording. I can put on a podcast, I can watch another YouTuber's videos, I can watch my own YouTube videos if I so need to or desire. Like, I'm having a weird issue with one copyright content ID claim that mutes my video completely, and it already went out completely muted, even though they dropped their claim and YouTube just messed up and didn't fix the audio. So now I'm trying to fix it, but it's been not very good. That I've run into a couple new tricks they're trying to do there where on Content ID, where they now will, instead of just stealing the money from me, they'll mute the entire video for the claim of a few seconds or maybe a minute of audio that they claim. They'll mute an entire 30-minute video, or they'll block the entire video in all countries, or they'll just block the entire video important countries like the United States and its outlying territories, and since I'm an English-speaking YouTuber, yeah, if you're blocking the United States, that's my main demographic, my main market. That's unacceptable. I got one where they muted the video and they claimed it at the same time. So they said, we're going to take all the audio out of your 30-minute video, but we're also going to take all the money you get from it. And I'm like, what are you... How is YouTube even allowing that to be an option? That somebody could, A, steal the money from me, which is all it is. And they know it is, the big corporations. This is just highway robbery. But steal all the money from me on the claim that my now muted video that has no audio is infringing on their audio. It's so ridiculous. Let's hit play again and just see. My issue here is the live chat has had nothing in it at all, and the number of viewers doesn't seem like it's showing at all. So as I'm looking at it, if anybody is typing in the chat, I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it, and these are those little issues that we're going to, I guess, have to deal with if I was gonna live stream. I'm not feeling like I am from the initial return here, because we've gone about an hour, and I've seen no comments, I've seen no viewers, I've seen nothing, which is weird because I look on the live tab, on the trending tab. There's several buttons on the mobile apps. There's a gaming, there's a news, there's live, and there's music, and then usually if there's something big happening, there'll be a special tab there. And I'll look on the live tab, and frankly, it doesn't seem like there's that much competition on the live tab. It seems like anybody can do anything. I should go look at the live tab, I guess, right now and see if I can even find my own thing streaming. Like, most of it on the live tab is people stealing video, audio, or stealing music. There are entire radio stations that are playing like this new genre they call nightcore, which is phase-pitched music of copyrighted music, and since it's pitch shifted, the YouTuber's not catching it. There's some news streams. There's several people taking like a Zoo's feed right now. There's some other things, but yeah, I'm looking right now and I'm not on that live tab, so I'm not big enough. And yeah, I can get the idea that people would just want to listen to music and watch things, and people just want to see just what they want to see, and I don't blame them for ending up watching the wrong thing. Maybe I'm on the live tab of YouTube Gaming, maybe not. And then of course I'm not going to be on the gaming tab because that's actually popular videos that are in gaming. So that's your PewDiePies and similar things. So I'm not expecting to be there, and clearly I'm not going to be on the trending tab. If I could get on the default trending tab even for like an hour, I would hope, and more than likely it would double my subscribers or do a lot more, really push my channel, which I put a lot of work in the past 2 years. I've been doing this for 2 years, so yeah, getting more subscribers and stuff. There's this podcast called Night Attack that I was able to submit my channel for a shout out there, and I thought that too was going to get me a lot of subscribers and views, and it got me a little bit of a bump, but Turns out, I guess they don't have that many viewers or subscribers themselves, but they gave me a free shout out, and so I'm very appreciative of it. But it wasn't the huge improvement that I would have liked. I'd really like to get up to 1,000 subscribers. I'd really like to get a lot of views on all my videos, like at least 301 views on all my videos, which I have gotten some videos that have gotten over 301. I've gotten some videos that have gotten over thousands of videos, but ironically, my best video is a video that doesn't even really have too much to do with video games. So, like, if I just sold out and made how-to videos, which is basically what it is, it would get more of a views. There's just so much competition that these things don't that I just don't get suggested. But ideally, I'm in this weird situation where I'm taking care of a disabled family member, and because of that, I really am not in a position where I should or could leave the house for long times. And they don't need a lot of help, but they do need to be watched over. And so, unless I can cross that barrier and then just go get a job somewhere and work minimum wage, which would pay a lot more than this YouTube, my goal is to make this YouTube channel work. And I just want a moderate, medium, like, living wage type idea here. I'm not trying to get rich, but I would like to have enough of a, how could you put this? I would like to have enough income coming in that I could live off of it for the time I'm doing it, and ideally have even more income so I could live off of it for longer. If I got like one video that was super successful, somehow gave me $1 million to pick just a random super expensive, super high number, then yeah, that would be that would be probably enough to live off of it, and then I just continue to do this YouTube channel for the rest of my life, and I'd be happy with that. It's like I don't want, particularly, my goal isn't to become the next PewDiePie and have millions and millions of dollars, although that would be nice. It would also add a lot of problems, and anybody that watches PewDiePie, I don't even really follow him that much, probably knows that, but if I had enough to say, look, I'm comfortable and I'm safe and secure, safety financially is a nice thing, you know. If I can just live within my means and live a very cheap and frugal lifestyle, which I think I can do. We're still trying to play these 8, 9, 10 mana cards. Let's see. I don't want this guy to lose hope and quit, though. That's the problem, ideally, is that a lot of people know when they're beat, and they're trying to save time too, so they don't want to sit and play a game that they know they've already lost. And like, I can't really blame them for it. But I may do live streaming again. It's still not out the window, and maybe in a year or two, if I've grown more viewers, I'll do it again. I also put out this live stream with no scheduling and no announcement or anything like that, so people aren't following me. I don't have a ton of people that actually watch my videos that follow me on Twitter, and Twitter is the probably best performing thing I have, which is a weird thing to say, but like the Twitter, I have a lot of bots following me. That seems like the default thing on Twitter is you start getting more and more bots that follow me. A lot of, however, video game creators, because whenever I put out a video, I mention them. I'm not trying to talk to them directly. I'm just saying, look, this is the company that made this game. If you want to follow this company, good. My video is a criticism. If they want to be critical, criticized and get better from that, they can watch my videos, and some of them do. In fact, I know some of them have watched all of my videos in the entire series and been very supportive, and I'm like, wow. And usually that's the smaller companies, but let's see, can I remember the name of that game? I've forgotten. I always forget the name of that game. There's this company called Chair that's a pretty big company that made this game called Shadow something? Shadow Complex. That's what it's called. Where is that 9? Here it is.
I dream and the world trembles.
Let the game.
So, I covered Shadow Complex. They contacted me, the company that made Shadow Complex, and said, hey, do you want any codes for this game that I'm already covering? And they contacted me through my YouTube, like direct messaging, which is something I didn't even really know about at the time. So I didn't even see the message until like 4 months after I'd recorded the entire game. And since I record everything in advance, if any company contacts me offering me code for the same game, it's kind of pointless anyways, but it's particularly pointless in my case. Destroy an enemy with 3 or less attack.
Let reading back.
So I'm still looking for Deathwing here.
Job's done.
But also, that certainly opened up the ideas, like, should I get close to the video game industry? And in the end, I'm practically certain now that I don't want to do that. That's the growing issue with me as I'm watching the big video game critics, is they're all so close to the video game industry that they all say the same thing. They all read the same newspaper in the morning. They all get the same stories. It's this massive group thing. I think a lot of the area and just socialization of where they live has also caused them to all think the same way. So you're not getting any unique voices. And sometimes, on occasions, I'll listen to people on podcasts, and the podcast kind of just evolves into one member of the group convincing the rest of the member of the group to think exactly the same way as them in matters of opinion. And that's boring. You should, if you're a video game critic, your job is to have your own opinion. If you have an opinion and it's different than somebody else, you go, good. I've heard your opinion. I respect it. I'm glad of it. I'm not going to change mine because of what you're saying. And so often in podcasts, it's the exact opposite. It's like, you should think this way. You should think this way. Groupthink, groupthink, groupthink. And I'm like, oh, this is so frustrating. I'm not saying I want to hear him argue. There's no reason to argue a subjective opinion. but I don't want them to just also fall over and kowtow and become a hive mind. And so, yeah, I don't want to get in close with the industry. I don't want to turn out to be like the things I'm seeing and don't like in the big video game critics. So I want to be able to do that. But also there's the matter of disclosure that the FCC has given out guidelines where you're supposed to say at the beginning of videos if anything is sponsored, if you got any kind of free money or anything free really from a video game company as a critic. And I don't want to really go down that route, and I don't want to lose credibility by saying yes, I got this game for free, or I got this code early. Now the price that I pay for saying that is I won't ever have early coverage, but frankly, whatever. If that's the price of your soul as a critic, then I'll just review all games when they come out for everybody or later. In fact, mostly I'm doing retrospectives right now anyways. So I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that trade-off. There are some games I have gotten for free in the sense that there were contests where like you can get a free Steam key if you go to like indiebundles.com, I think is one of them. But there's never been a directly free game I've done where I individually got free. And even then, when I get a game for free, I still want to label that I got it for free so that my criticism comes from the perspective, well, he didn't even pay for anything of that. Now, for me personally, I don't think that's going to make me any nicer to the games. I am mostly, if not 100% negative in my criticism. If there's good things, I will very rarely go, oh, that's cool. That's a good thing. But that's not really what criticism's about. So, if something good is going on, I probably won't say anything. If something bad is happening, then I mention it. And that's just how I see criticism should work. Like, I'm not here to advertise or be an advertiser for the game. I fully recommend everybody watch reviews they trust before they buy any game. I fully recommend if they don't like something about a game, that they quickly seek a refund, or if they see that there's something about a game that they really can't tolerate before they purchase the game, they don't purchase it. I fully am of the opinion that you probably shouldn't pre-order, and you probably shouldn't encourage pre-orders. You probably shouldn't buy DLC, and you probably shouldn't encourage DLC things. Ironically, I like a lot of the Telltale games, but they are the worst case of both pre-order and DLC culture merged into ones, because if you buy or get for free episode 1 of a 5-episode season of a Telltale game, well, then you've effectively just kind of pre-ordered the rest of the game before it's finished and out and been reviewed. And on top of that, you're also paying for DLC for the rest of the game. So you've both paid for DLC and pre-ordered all in one, and it's like, I wish that wasn't the case. I really wish that wasn't the world we were living in. That these things have become popular, but they seem to be interesting schemes. Speaking of interesting schemes,
Tonight.
Hey, I finally got somebody who on the Twitter, on the chat, okay, so he's asking what's my battle tag. Let's type that in for, well, I can't type it in. I'm sorry. Oops. The problem here is I have 2 accounts on my thing. So let me see if I can switch to the other account and on my YouTube app, so I can respond to you on the right account, because my other account doesn't have a channel. 3 people watching. I should have been on that already. Here we go. So it's RYDO and then hashtag $. Alright, let's also play the game for everybody else that's watching. This isn't an interesting problem that you always have with this stuff anyways, is that you take a moment out to address one person and make everybody else in the world wait.
Barbaric.
So, was it 1423? 1423. So we probably, there we go. Hey, I have a little crown when I comment. That's cool. I like that. So I may get a friend request here, and we'll see if this person wants to friend request me. Ideally, it would be great if people had the watch and learn things. And let's see, we're still trying to play 2 10 cost cards, and I don't know what we should do here with that. See, here we got somebody with a friend request. Here also, though, I'm showing his battle tag, so he may get some more requests from other people, and we might just grow a community here as this goes. It's up to him to accept if he gets requests, and I'm saying him, I don't know if it's a male or female, but I'm just generalizing there. We might grow a community here as this is going. And see, maybe it's just an issue of I should stream for longer, and it just takes a little bit while to get going. Because now we've got somebody watching. Maybe it takes an hour to get another person, and maybe it takes another hour to get another person, another 2 people. Maybe it snowballs. If it takes an hour to get 1 person, frankly, it's not worth my time to live stream. But if it snowballs, and now there's 3 people watching, and now there's 4 people watching, and all of that. Now, of course, the problem too is somebody who's just friended me and chats on, so he can just type whatever dirty things he wants to type in the chat, and it will pop up if he wanted to just troll me. Which, okay, whatever. I mean, I'm a big boy. I can handle it. If that's what they want to do, I'll simply defriend the person if they did something like that. The most irritating thing is if he put out a text that's like, go to www.cheatershearthstone.com, and he's just an ad person trying to push people to some cheating site, which you should definitely not do. Blizzard has just recently started a lawsuit on people who are cheating with bots on Hearthstone, and it's tempting. It's tempting to cheat and get more gold and get more cards. I wish you could get away with it, and I'd do it myself, frankly, particularly for Hearthstone, which takes up so much of your time. But Blizzard's not going to allow that, and you're going to get your account banned if you do something like that. So if you are going to invest the amount of time to make a game like this, then to play a game like this and invest all of that effort, you probably shouldn't risk your investment on things like that. He says, yeah, I'm a guy, and all welcome on the chat.
Truth is my shield.
He's asking EU or US. I am in the United States. No more details than that I will give, though, because I'm not here to dox myself. But I am in the United States. I did early on, I haven't talked about this actually on my channel at all. When I was younger, I had a speech impediment that I probably haven't ever really fixed. It may have been fixed for a while, but then I backslid. That might be the right way to say, where I wasn't pronouncing words particularly well, and people would think I was from the UK when I'm not. I'm born and bred in the United States, which is weird. I think also I may have been watching a lot of UK like kids movies and tapes that were somehow gotten really cheaply by my parents, and I may have adopted a more of a style of pronouncing things like that. So it's not uncommon for people to think that I'm British, if that's still the issue, but maybe he's just asking to. I'll sometimes have fall into that and use some British things. I'm a pretty big fan of British comedies and such, so I'll use some British words and whatever I pick up, just generally weird in general. But yeah, the question, I will say, EU or US is a particular nitpick though that I try to avoid, because there's more than just the US that speaks English. I could also be Canadian. I could also be Mexican who just speaking English, although my accent probably shows that that's not the case. Man, I could have played Deathwing. I should have played Deathwing next turn. I like to call myself a United Statesian, not an American, because just to be specific, I am also an American, but so are Canadians, Mexicans, everybody in Central America and everybody in South America are all Americans. America includes all the Americas, and that's a very broad thing. Alright, so we're gonna play this and this. And then end the turn. And I only need one more of this, so we're going to I'm gonna wrap up here, which is kind of a shame because I've just got people watching, but I would hope everybody just rewinds your live stream. Like, we have that ability on YouTube, so if you started it right now, I'd recommend just going back and rewinding from the beginning, because I only have one more 8 or 9 mana creature to play, and then I'll be done with all the quests, and then I've got other pre-recorded videos I need to cover. I will say I'm very happy to have one viewer and one person in the chat. So I'll respond to him in the chat. Oh, he's responded back. He says he was thinking what server I'm on. Oh, so I'll just say US.
Except mice.
So I totally misinterpreted what question he was asking even. I don't do any secondary server stuff. I know the big time people do that, where they have secondary accounts and they play on different servers and stuff. I couldn't be bothered to play Hearthstone that much. I don't like the game that much to try to have a secondary account. I guess we'll do a little bit of a tour at the end here, and just show how many cards I have and I'm missing. So that should be the end of the quest. But yeah, even having played this game for 2 years, there's still a lot of classic cards I don't have, a lot of legendary classic cards I don't have in particular, that it's really, really difficult to get enough dust to
Well played.
to collect all those things. And that it always brings back this question is, when there's a new expansion, for newer players, they're probably better off getting classic card packs than the expansion card packs, because while Blizzard has started to put classic cards in the Hall of Fame, which is just banning them under a different term, it's still a better scenario. Most of the classic cards in the collection are still standard cards, and they want you to play in standard play, and I wouldn't be surprised if eventually you do just get forced into playing standard play and they get rid of everything. So there's one legendary here that I still haven't collected. There's one legendary here I still haven't collected, and each one of these are 1600 dust, and right now I have 15 dust. There's probably a decent amount of cards that still don't have 2 copies of everything, and most of these are playable in standard, whereas if you buy the newest expansion, I'm missing that one, and that one, Lord Jaraxxus, that's a card I really wish I did have, but I need the common cards first before I get any special character class, the neutral cards. So there's, like, I'm missing that. I'm missing several neutral cards that are legendaries. There's when you get the expansions, you know the entire expansion, every single card. I just recently got Leroy Jenkins. That was probably the first legendary card I've ever made with dust in 2 years of playing. If that goes to show you anything, because I was making other cards with dust, the epics and the rares and the maybe even a common or two. 4 more legendary cards. I would like all of these, and you only need one of them because you can only have one of them. But once you had a full collection of just the classic cards, if you get a free classic pack, that's free dust. You know everything's going to get turned into dust, and then that dust could be used, for example, in the newest expansion, which right now is Gadget Sand, but it's soon to be turned into Journey of Unguru, or whatever that, however you pronounce that. And then you could get the newest expansion, which would be my second pick if I'm not going to get classic cards. But even getting the newest expansion, you know that's going to get banned. You have here Goblins vs. Gnomes, and reward cards and Nyxramus cards are already banned to Wild, and it's only going to get worse because Blackrock Mountain and the Grand Tournament are going to get banned, and Blackrock Mountain and Nyxramus are both solo player adventures things, and so if you don't have those, you should purchase at least the first week of them for 100 gold before they get eliminated forever, just so you can play it. The game is actually losing content for newer players, which really stinks. And then if you did want a Blackrock Mountain card after it's gone, you'll have to use dust, which is even more expensive. But when we go over here and we look at all the cards that are available, you can see after 2 years there's going to be a considerable amount of cards that I don't have 2 of, and a considerable amount of cards that I am completely missing. And there's a decent amount of cards in general that the game has, and that's what any replacement to Hearthstone would have to beat, is can it beat the 130 or so pages of cards that have moderately unique things? Ideally, I wish the cards had more crazy things like Yu-Gi-Oh! I felt like since Yu-Gi-Oh's cartoon was kind of just making up the rules and as it goes, and then well, Yu-Gi-Oh's anime was just making up the rules, and they made the card game afterwards. It allowed for some really crazy things and really unbalanced and silly things, whereas Blizzard really tries to make everything balanced, tries to get you that 50% win ratio. You can see right now I'm running a 39% win ratio on this build, and so you don't get a bunch of crazy things. But they're starting, I think with the next expansion, they're going to reclassify a lot of the cards to make them specific types of cards. So you have like a card here that's a mech because it's a machine, and they're going to start taking a lot of the ones here and make new classes of cards. So say this is a Cabal Shadow Priest, there might be a class at some point in the future called the Priest, where this becomes a priest, and there will be cards that get added that say give all priests +1 health, +1 attack, things like that. Simplistic actions, though. Yeah. There's never going to be anything like the... Oops. Well, Blizzard has been disrupted. Well, we didn't look at all the cards, but I think this is as good of a place as any to end this stream. So please wait a few minutes and then disperse. Playful Sprites have disrupted it. Yeah, well, that's ridiculous. A response. Just say the truth. We're having network trouble. And but yeah, I'm still missing a lot of cards, and I'll be missing a lot more cards when the new expansion comes out. But when the new expansion comes out, I'm going to try to be there. I'm going to try to make a video that covers all the cards as soon as they are available. So we're going to look at every single card, and there'll probably be several videos on my channel that come out, like all the Druid cards, all the Priest cards, all the Warrior cards for every class, and then all the neutral cards. And we'll look at them and see what I think about the expansion, but I want to wait till the game has it. I could just like look online at all the cards that have been announced, but they won't look as pretty, and they might change a little bit. Look at the animation here. This is just barely animated on that. That looks bad. But so we'll look at all the cards for the next expansion. We'll open 50 card packs. We'll probably open the 50 card packs first and then look at all the cards, just because I bet that gets more views, unless I can look at the cards before I can buy 50 card packs. And then we'll start to think about building new decks, and that might be over the course of a couple days, because last time there was an expansion I spent an entire day, like 12 to 16 hours going through all of that, and that's probably too much. Anyways, that's going to be it for this live stream test. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it succeeds. I think it succeeded already. To get even one person to friend me on Blizzard's Battle.net is way more than I usually get on a video. And hopefully they'll subscribe, and if that gets me one subscriber, that's probably way more than what I get normally. So, and it did get my video in front of at least one random person's eyes. So that's something too. So I have to say this is at least a moderate success. I end all my episodes the same way. I ask you to like, I ask you to share, I ask you to subscribe, I ask you to click the bell next to the subscribe button to get notifications. I ask you to comment if you want to. This video will probably still be up as after the fact, so leave comments there too. And then I ask you to watch every second of my videos, because the more people watch my videos, the better watch time. It tells YouTube that my videos are worth watching. If people just watch a second and leave, then YouTube thinks it's boring and doesn't suggest it to other people. Finally, down below in the description, I have links to all my social media accounts, so please follow and friend me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google Plus, Steam, and Battle.net. All those links are down below at the very bottom of the description. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.